Hello friends, welcome to Cook to Nourish. In today's episode, I'm going to share with you how to grow sprouts. And in particular, I'm going to show you how to grow broccoli sprouts. However, you can use the same method to grow any kind of sprouts. And I'm going to show you how to grow sprouts using the sprouter that I purchased online. And I find it really very easy to grow sprouts using this method. So I'm going to share with you that method. However, you can grow sprouts using any other methods as well. Like, some people use glass jars and they're able to do it perfectly. And or you can also actually use some other containers. Like you can also use like a disposable, some type of disposable container. This is part of this actually, but I'll show you. I'll show you how you can do that using some other kind of containers as well. Now, what are the benefits of sprouts? Sprouts in general are extremely nutritious. They have more nutrition than that is found in that vegetable. For example, broccoli sprouts are, at least 10 times to 100 times more potent in terms of the ingredient, one ingredient that is called as sulforaphane, which is actually a powerful agent for detox, as well as powerful agent that has anti-cancer properties, and also provides benefit to heart, beneficial for cardiovascular health, and basically tons of different benefits that broccoli sprouts are have. And actually eating just about this much, right, which is like half a cup of broccoli sprouts is equivalent to actually eating half a head of broccoli, or about eating 1 cup of broccoli sprouts is equivalent to eating an entire head of broccoli. And that benefit is specifically in respect to the sulforaphane ingredient that I talked about, and that's the one that's concentrated in the broccoli sprouts. And that's the one ingredient that has benefits for detoxification, as well as for anti-cancer properties, as well as anti-aging, and tons of other benefits. Now, doesn't mean that if you eat broccoli sprouts, totally avoid eating broccoli and other cruciferous vegetables. No, you should eat those as well, because they also continue to have a lot of other nutrients. So you want to maximize your nutrient density or nutrient potential in your foods. So you do need to eat these sprouts, and you do need to eat the whole vegetables, especially the cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, kale, and cauliflower, because in addition to the sulforaphane that broccoli sprouts have, they also have high other high values of other minerals and vitamins. So definitely do both. And another thing I wanted to show you was like, how do I, once I have this, look at this beautiful green. Once they are done, so this was about like 5 to 6 days it took from the time I germinated them till now that I can start actually eating them. And what I'd like to do is just take any container, or you can also use Ziploc bags, and then just fill these with that. Now the beautiful thing about growing these sprouts is that you're not using any soil here. It's just water, and and because of that, there's nothing that you need to get rid of. You don't need to wash them to get rid of the excess soil or things like that. So but these are really, if you touch them, these are still very humid because of the way they have been grown. They're really humid. So you need to, what I do is I just kind of fill that up almost like 3/4 way up, and then use a paper towel, and depending upon the size of the container, right? So this is a small container. I'll pack it up and cover it with the paper towel, so it absorbs any excess moisture, and that way this will stay in your refrigerator for about 4-5 days, right? So you can just grab it out and then eat it every day. Now what I recommend you do not do is do not wash this before storing it in the refrigerator. The thing I wanted to show you is that you can also use containers like these, disposable, if you don't have a sprouter, and then you put paper towel on the bottom, wet the paper towel, and then do all the things that I'm talking about, which is basically, putting the seeds and then continuing to add water every 12 hours or 24 hours, depending upon how humid your environment is, and just make sure that it continues to stay damp. For the first couple days, you have to make sure that they grow in a dark, kept in a dark place so that the germination happens. And once the germination happens, you can actually just cover it with the same lid and keep it in any location in your kitchen. Either I like to put it in the back of my kitchen. So let's walk you through how I ended up growing these sprouts, and then hang in there till the end of the video, because I'm also going to show you a quick recipe of how I eat these broccoli sprouts in a salad. Alright, so let's get started. Another thing I wanted to quickly mention was that broccoli sprouts are okay to be had in case of thyroid disease or with autoimmune disease. They are perfectly safe. Okay, so I have the sprouter that I got from Amazon. I'll put a link in the description box below for you. And even the seeds I got, broccoli seeds, non-GMO, from Amazon. I'll put the link for that as well. And you start by half a tablespoon. That's about like half a tablespoon I use for every compartment here. And now, I don't know if you are able to see, but each of these compartments, they have kind of like concentric circles on them. So that helps the seeds to kind of spread and stay in place. However, once the first time when you add water, it's going to spread around a lot. So see, I'm actually going to show you that I'm exactly using half a tablespoon. So I have half a tablespoon measure here, and I'll show you. I just made sure this time that I used the measuring spoon so I could I could guide you properly and as to the amount I use. And so that's a half a tablespoon measure, and I'm using the entire half a tablespoon there. So as I was saying, those circles, the concentric circles, enable the seeds to remain in place. However, for the first time around, which is what you're doing now, right? Once you add the water, everything kind of goes haywire. They're going to spread around. So that's why it doesn't really matter much the first time around how you do it. And now that's the top compartment in which you fill water. So you need to add 2 cups of warm filtered water. That's very important. There should not be any chlorine in your water. So this is filtered water, and you just add it to the top compartment, and then slowly, as you can see, it's already dripping. There are holes down each compartment, and it kind of starts dripping slowly. Now this is now 24 hours later, so I'm going to check on the seeds. So as I was telling you, see, they have moved around quite a bit, the seeds, because of the water dripping, and that's fine, because what we are going to do now is we are going to spread them around. So use your hands, your fingers, and kind of just slowly spread them around. Again, those kind of striations inside of these compartments help to do that. So just try to kind of put them in, spread them around as much as possible. You don't have to go crazy, just see how I'm doing it. Kind of just spread it loosely, because every time you water, these seeds are going to move around. So you don't, there's no point in trying to, make sure that they're separate, but because they are going to move some initially. But try to spread them around as much as possible, and we'll then water them again. I feel that the half a tablespoon is gives me like a good yield without a lot of wastage. Okay. So now see, the bottom compartment is filled with water because it drips from the top to the bottom. So you need to drain this, and then basically all you have to do is put these things back up, and then we'll add fresh water, more fresh water on the top, so that these seeds will continue to stay wet and soaked and allowing them to germinate. So I'm adding 2 more cups of water. Now I have observed that in this sprouter you don't necessarily need to keep it in a dark place. I just keep it on the back of my kitchen counter, like my back kitchen counter, and just don't keep it in front of direct sunlight. And as long as I do that, I feel that they germinate quite well. Now this is after 48 hours, so to the second day or 2 days later, and see, now you can actually see that the seeds have sprouted, or the germination process has started, and see how they are, the white seedlings you can see. And then again, all you need to do is just empty the water and then put fresh filtered water again. So that's all you need to do. And while you are at it, you just kind of move the seeds a little bit around to make sure that they are spread around evenly. So that's all you need to do. So this is really very low maintenance. All you need to do is water it and just move the seeds around and put them in a side. Not a lot of work, right? For what you're going to get at the end of it, it's totally worth it. So I'm just doing this, and then again placing each of these back over again. So in this, as you can see, there are some black still, meaning that they have not sprouted. So that's why you just kind of move it around, and then again, hopefully in the next day or so, the rest of them will germinate as well. Okay, so just do this, and then once again place the top lid and pour water. Again, make sure it's room temperature water and filtered water, and then again leave it for some time. Now this is 3 days later, or the third day actually, and see how you can already see greens coming, the leaves forming, and then you also see some kind of a white fungus or a fuzzy kind of a growth. And don't get alarmed at this point. Many people get alarmed and they think that there is mold, but it's not mold. It is actually just part of the seedling and the growth leaves itself, and within a couple days that'll all go away, and then you will get the sprouts. So don't worry if you see those fuzzy things. That's perfectly normal. So again, drain the water from the bottom compartment as you saw me doing, and then we will add fresh water again fresh filtered water. That's at room temperature, and once again we leave it. So this is day 4, and let's check on it now. See, wow, they have grown considerably, and they're pretty much kind of done, and in another day or so they'll be completely ready. They've basically sprouted very well. However, they need to grow in height some more. And so now this time actually I'm just going to drain the water, but when I touch them I can feel that they are very damp. That there's a lot of moisture within these, so I'm not going to add any water today. So when you touch them, you can make that out, that it's very damp. So if they're very damp, you don't need to add more water. So today I'm just going to leave them as is, because there's enough moisture. Now this is day 5, and looks like our sprouts are ready. See how they're like completely, all the roots are there, and This is basically the kind that you get in a store when you get, broccoli sprouts. So these are ready. So I'll show you how I make it into a salad. This is my most common recipe. I use cucumber, red onion, and the sprouts. So I like to dice the cucumber into small pieces, and then I like to finely chop the red onions, and I really like red onions here because they are like really more pungent. You can even thinly slice the onions if you like it that way. Mm, and a little goes a long way. So here I have about half of a small red onion and about you know a half of a long cucumber, and we have squeezing some fresh lemon juice. So I think the sprouts taste good with a squeeze of lime or lemon, and some sea salt or rock salt. So this is the sprouts that we had packed, and it was in the fridge. So just kind of break them apart a little bit so they are separated, and then just add them to the salad, and then sprinkle some sea salt, or you can even add rock salt. And then finally I'm going to add this seasoning called as Indian seasoning called chaat masala. I'm sorry you're not able to see the pack, and I'll place a link in the description box. But I like to use about a quarter teaspoon to 1/2 teaspoon of this masala. It is actually very tangy. Thank you, friends. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Visit cooktonourish.com for more recipes.